method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades. While the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux, to this day the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can hit the streetlights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never cared for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, welcome back to another edition of This Week in Pro Wrestling, where we got the new game show look. We had a successful week 1. Before we start, I want to say, if anyone doesn't know it out there, rip Dick Butkus, American icon, one of the most incredible football players to ever step on the field. But we want to keep it positive. I want to introduce the cast. The same cast of 4. First, I'm going to open up with the champion, the player, Benny Scala.
Benny.
And folks, don't adjust your monitor. This really is my shirt.
Oh, man.
Love it, man.
And the second place, or the runner-up, was Mr. Boston, Mr. Phil DeCesare. Phil, how are you, buddy?
Doing great.
Look at the guns, dude. Oh, man.
Benny did what I wanted to do it.
I'm man your guns, Phil saying your guns.
We got the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow, who's still trying to work through some tech, but it's okay. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm fine, except I can't hear anybody except for you. Boy, oh boy, this is going very smoothly so far, huh, pal?
Well, hang in there. Jimmy. It's only week 2. And the dead last, the loser, the bum, the walking New York Jet, who fell in last place last week by a record total of points. ESO, Bruce, how are you?
The world record. Man, what's going on, guys? Benny, I'm coming for you today. We may be partners on This Week in Pro Wrestling History, but today, you're going down.
All right, guys, are you ready to dethrone the player?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Remember, do not start answering until the clock is running. Question 1. WWE legend Edge joins rival AEW in shocking debut just 24 hours after his contract expired. The rated R superstar is now going by the real name Adam Copeland as joined AEW. He went on Wrestle Dream and saved Sting from his friend Christian Cage. The question I have to you guys, what does this mean for AEW, and what does this mean to the WWE? Opening it up, the champion, the player, Benny Scala. You are on in. I'm waiting for your clock. You're on. Go.
Yeah, I mean, what does it mean? To WWE, I don't think it really means much of anything. I mean, yeah, he came back from his broken neck, and he's had a few good years, and he's worked some good programs. But I mean, let's face it, the guy's 50 years old. There's a lot of up and coming stars that need that time in the ring and on TV, and I think him stepping aside is actually going to be a good thing for all of them. And now, as far as AEW, kind of depends. Now, I look at this as, it's like you worked at a company like IBM for 30 years, and then you retire and you start working or you join a frat house, and you have to make that transition from the structured corporate environment to that frat house. And I think it'll be a good thing for that frat house if, and it's a big if though, if they value, because let's face it, AEW, some of the talent there has had a track record, Adam Page especially, of not giving these great legends their due. I mean, and Edge, geez, the guy's done everything by not listening. Hopefully, and I want to try to be positive, maybe they'll tap into his knowledge and his expertise. And I mean, the guy he still brings a lot to the table, still in incredible shape. And I think if they use him properly, it'll be a great thing for AEW.
All right, Benny, good job. Good job. Next up, the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. We're going to call him Mr. Technical, like RVD. Jimmy, you're on the clock. Go.
Yeah, all right. Keep in mind, Mike, I can only hear you. I know I'm chewing up part of my answer, but that's the way it goes. What does this mean for AEW? Getting Edge. Whoopee, it's another grab. I mean, it's not bad for AEW. That's fine. What does it mean to WWE? Probably not too much. I'm starting to wonder, with all of these legends who seem to take off and go from the big pond to the wannabe big pond, I'm starting to wonder whether or not the WWE even cares anyway. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's personal anymore. This one doesn't feel personal. It's almost like, yeah, I guess we got nothing left for you to do, Edge. Yep. You want to go tail off into the sunset with your friend, go ahead. I don't really think that it's any ground-shaking shit. And most importantly, this is great for Bruce, because now Bruce doesn't have to listen to Edge anymore on WWE programming. So maybe Bruce was behind this. I'm not sure. Bruce, are you laughing? I can't tell. I can't hear you. Anyway.
Absolutely.
It's just another day at the office. This is just one more change. Do I think it's going to make a huge impact either way? Nope, not at all. Not really. And Edge had run his course. WWE has got a lot of up-and-coming guys. What do they need Edge around for? It is what it is. It's kind of funny, though. It feels like 2 blinks ago that Edge just got here, and Mike and I were talking about fans crying, and, oh, my God, it's Edge. I haven't seen him in so many years. Boy, it almost feels kind of anticlimactic. One of these days we'll have a topic, was Edge's return even, what it was supposed to be?
Good job, Jimmy. Good job. Well done, sir. Up next, Mr. Last Place, Bruce from ESO.
All right. So, who's this Adam Copeland guy that came out there? Well, it's no secret that I am not an Edge fan, and I haven't been since the days of the Edge and Christian 5-second pose. When they were together, they were great. After that, I don't think Edge was the needle mover a lot of people give him credit for. Well, his angle with Matt Hardy back in the early 2000s was one of the reasons I kind of turned off WWF. But one of the things he just said was that he didn't need the WWE. He wanted to end the WWE character, and that was one of the reasons that character was dead, and he wants to reinvent himself and do something new. Well, if that was dead, why did he bring the rated R superstar and keep his music? It doesn't make much sense. One of the reasons I didn't like him is he really seeks it. He seeks that limelight. He seeks that pop. He came back in one year. He came back like 5 times. He seeks that attention. In his country, he's a tremendous draw in his own country. That's why the WWF or WWE ended his run in his own country. I'm a little. I think he should have put some more people over on his way out of WWE, but that's a whole nother thing. He's below what the WWE needs at this time, but he's way better than 90% of what AEW has. He's better than what 90% of the AEW roster is drawing. not really surprised. He signed with AEW. They're trying to collect all this talent from the early 2000s WWF. 20 years later, this
That's it,
Luchasaurus
Bruce.
cage.
All right. Bruce, considering how much you hate Edge, got a little struggle out of you today. What happened there, bud?
Well, I could have kept going. That's the problem.
All right, Phil, you got a wide open cave here. Number 4, plenty of room, plenty of points. What does Edge to AEW mean to pro wrestling?
I think it means a lot to pro wrestling, certainly to AEW, to have someone of his experience coming in and to kind of serve as a learning tree for some of these athletes who have very similar styles to Edge. Got a lot of possibilities in terms of booking. One thing, he can kind of ease into a more of a full-time schedule, such as it is in AEW, and it's a reduced schedule, I think, compared to WWE, which will give him some longevity. But I think that he'll be able to actually work in some tag teams, too. There are more opportunities, and work with people he knows. I know we mentioned Matt Hardy. There's always that dynamic there. In fact, the Hardys are still there as far as I know. And I think eventually we'd all love to see Edge and Christian against the Hardys again. But having tag teams and having a strong Canadian presence there is very important, too. I think he can go in limitless directions there. Yeah, I think he did his time in WWE. I don't think there was much left for him at the time and with the current cast of characters. And, maybe WWE is looking at the neck issue, maybe thinking, he could be a liability potentially. And they certainly don't want to sign him to a long-term contract, and that's understandable too. But I think he's going to flourish in AEW. I think he's going to give some new blood there. I think we're going to see Christian and he reunite again, certainly. I think the fans are into him big time. I think it's kind of cool to hear his name, and for the first time ever, the fans were chanting Adam, which is kind of a unique thing, too.
Well done, Phil. Well done, Phil.
Thank you.
Good points on the neck, good points on the tag team. The one thing I will say, him coming to AEW opens up that tag team wrestling. There's so many, I guess, for the wrestling fan, dream matches. All right, question 2, guys. WrestleMania main event. The WWE is now opening up a whole bunch of different options, right? Right after WrestleMania this year, Cody's going to finish the story, but a few things have happened. So here's the question to you guys. There's 3 possible main events for WrestleMania. Roman versus The Rock, Roman versus LA Knight, and Roman versus Cody Rhodes. Please choose what WrestleMania main event you want to see and sell me on why that should be the WrestleMania main event. Opening up this question, the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh.
Say go.
You're on, Jimmy.
All right. Well, I think it's pretty obvious what I'm going to pick. I'm going with, now look, I can already hear the wrestling purists flipping out. Cody should finish the story. Okay, in principle, I agree. Cody should finish the story, but you cannot, as a company, and you cannot think that the most sexy match is obviously The Rock and Roman Reigns. I want it. I want to see The Rock again. Do I admit The Rock is starting to look closer and closer to the wrestling version of Captain Picard? Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. I think we're getting ready to beam The Rock out pretty soon. But I still feel like, that's the match. I think everybody wants to see it. It's the sexy match. It's going to make $1 billion, sponsorships, and new fans, too. Sometimes it's funny, wrestling purists don't think about new fans. Sure, I understand what makes wrestling great. Wrestling's a sport first. It is to most of us, not all of us, but a lot of us from the old days. But, it's changed. And what about new fans? I mean, The Rock is the biggest name in Hollywood, pretty much. This will bring in a whole sea of new people, I'm sure, just out of curiosity. I mean, don't we want that, or we just want to keep it for ourselves? If we do want to keep it for ourselves, then it reminds me of a guy in Queens. Anyway, no. To me, it's The Rock and Roman Reigns. I know it's the Vince McMahon thing, but since when did Andre Hogan, Warrior Hogan...
Well done, Jimmy. Nice round. Good case for the Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Up next, ESO. Which main event do we want to see? You're on the clock.
All right. Well, I have to agree with Pharaoh. I don't think there's any other choice in that, and that is going with The Rock and Roman. The Rock is bigger than he has ever been, both physically and as far as his superstardom. The guy is everywhere. He prints money just by walking down the street. It's unbelievable. He's a mega crossover star that would bring in fans that would never have even thought of watching wrestling over to watch it. The sponsorship, it would be sponsorship galore. Everybody would be throwing money at Endeavor just to get their name in that arena for that day, for that. Could you imagine? They would do movies just based on that event alone. There'd be movies, there'd be documentaries. Let's face it, Cody's going to have his day at one point. Cody's day in the sun is coming. I do not think it's right now, but it's gonna be in the future. He's a young dude. His what is he? He's 38. So Roman's in his early to mid 40s. He didn't pick up this title run until he was into his into his 40s. So no, Cody's going to have his time in the sun. But right now, it would Rock and Roman is money in the bank. I mean, I hate to use that term, but yeah, they have to go that route. It would be everywhere. It would be on every network. You wouldn't
Nice
be able
job, Bruce. Way to recover. Well done. Excellent. Phil, the main event for WrestleMania. Give us the case, what it should be. You're on the 30. Go.
You know, as much as I'd love to be a contrarian and offer a different suggestion with these choices, I have to go with the guys so far. And because you talk about a marquee that sells itself, and you can argue, oh, there's been no build-up. You know, The Rock has just popped back into wrestling, but the build-up has been going on now for the past, I don't know, how many years has it been really since the Bloodline thing started, you know? It's money. It's a logical extension of this. It's about tribal chiefdom. I mean, already they're both sporting the Samoan tattoos. This incredible rite of passage that was started by Peter Maivia back in the day. Again, it almost is a way for transitioning Roman to Hollywood, and I certainly don't want to see him leave at all. But I mean, it's kind of ironic that Hollywood has its eye on Roman, and I think probably to some extent he has his eye on Hollywood himself. But we're talking about two athletes who great football experience between the two. I mean, these are legit athletes. These are thoroughbreds. They're workhorses. I'd argue Roman is the better performer even right now, and again, the familiarity that they have with one another, the trust factor would be great to pull off just an incredible match. And this is one I would be thrilled to see. And I mean, it just, it's there, man. It's there for the taking.
Well, Phil, nice work. And what did you, what was that? What did you call it? Not tribalism. Would you say Romanism? What was that line you came out with?
I don't even remember.
It was good. I'm going to have to play that back. I'll have to play that back.
I will too.
Well, I'm sitting here watching, and I'm thinking Benny the Champion, who had a pretty decent first round, now he's looking and he's going, boy, oh boy, I'm way behind. Okay. Benny, what WrestleMania main event would you choose? You're on the 30. Go.
Well, I mean, it really is a no-brainer because what is WWE? It's a business. What is the purpose of a business? To maximize its revenue. What match out of the three of them will maximize their revenue? There's absolutely no question that it's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns. You got to take the sentiment out of it because it is a business. I mean, as a fan, I'd want to see one of the other two. But if it was my company and I had to make the call and I knew The Rock was available, there's not a doubt in my mind. I would never hesitate for a second. Now, the big question is, and I think that match will happen without question. The big question is, how will it be booked? Because I do think, although Cody will not be in the main event of WrestleMania, I do think that Cody will capture the title in a relatively short period of time. So the question is, how do you book it? Do you book Roman Reigns clean over Rock, and then just maybe the next pay-per-view or Monday Night Raw, Cody comes on and challenges Roman, and they tease it till the next pay-per-view and the next big one, or maybe you have a draw I don't advocate having a three-way. I don't think that would work. I think that would detract from the whole intrigue of The Rock and Roman Reigns. I think that match has to happen. I think LA Knight, I mean, if he's still the quote-unquote megastar, then he'll have his time as well.
Well done, Benny. Great bounce back. We got a pretty tight race here, considering, and these are really good conversations, so well done. It's funny how fans, including ourselves, would kick Cody to the curb to have The Rock against Roman Reigns. It's amazing. It really is.
Look at when Hogan was 50. Hogan, he faced The Rock, but The Rock versus Roman, it actually would seem a little bit more competitive. I mean, Hogan at that point was barely moving. The Rock's still in ridiculous shape.
He is.
Yeah.
Question 3. As reported by WrestleNomics, 857,000 viewers watched NXT on Tuesday. That number is up from last week from 636,000 viewers. In return, AEW will be presenting their match, Dynamite on Tuesday, going head-to-head with the WWE, which has now been called 10-10-23. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman are all set for NXT against AEW Dynamite, along with Asuka. The question is to you guys, what does this mean for NXT, and what does this mean for AEW Dynamite? Who will be the winner on 10-10-2023? Opening it up, ESO. You're on the 30. Go.
I think it's a no-brainer who's going to win that one. With the superstardom that's going to be on NXT on that night, do you think there's any way that Dynamite's going to draw up against that? NXT, I have to say, NXT is on a roll recently. I actually enjoyed seeing Becky Lynch get win the title, and that match this past weekend with Tiffany Stratton, that was absolutely ridiculous. And so I have to say, it's going to be WWE 110%. There is no way that AEW is going to win on that night. Now, AEW is going to have to pull out some stops that they've never been able to do before. We'd have to see I couldn't imagine them pulling a name out of that. And Adam Copeland isn't going to do it. They could even bring CM Punk back, and you know what? He's not even going to stand up to that roster. You have John Cena going on to NXT. That's unheard of. You have one of the biggest stars, biggest up and coming stars in Hollywood, and now he's going to be on the third level WWE program. Come on, now you put the other ones on top of it. You have Asuka, you have obviously Becky Lynch right now is the title holder. There's no chance that AEW wins that night. We're going to be predicting record-setting numbers for NXT.
Good job, Bruce. Good job. Bruce, do you think this is a chess game between NXT and the WWE, or you just think they fell into each other's pocket?
No, that just fell into each other's pocket. That's not. Well, I think for AEW, they're trying to do anything to get a little bit of publicity on that. But no, absolutely, it's just WWE could care less what AEW is doing on that night. They're if anything, it's a thumb your nose at them. Just, we can do this, so we're gonna do this.
Well done, Phil. You're up next. You're on the 30. Go.
Well, the winner won't be either of those companies. The winner will be us. We, the wrestling fans, are going to win because, one of my favorite times in life was the Monday Night Wars. In fact, there's an old song, I think, from the 1970s that goes, torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool. That's how it was on Monday once upon a time. And then, of course, throw in Monday Night Football, and it was really crazy. What do we watch? But we watch wrestling. In fact, I set up two TVs once upon a time in a living room and a den and kind of had them facing and was kind of watching them both simultaneously. This is going to be, I think, a reprising of that. both products, again, are great. Particularly NXT, I'm very psyched. Young talent there. Brian Pillman Jr. potentially making an appearance and doing something. Braun Strowman. These two young lions, I think, are going to be really big-time future in NXT. Of course, having Cena back there, huge in itself, and having Paul Lee and the rub from him, and always something special when Paul Lee's a part of the show. So I think they're really going to do very well. And I do think AEW is going to rise to the occasion. I want to see Luchasaurus, whom I think is a great monster heel, and I think he and Edge are going to have a really great match. And I think they're going to do their best to compete, too. And I think we're just going to win. I dread the fact that I'm up at 4 a.m. the next morning and I'm going to be staying up and watching this. But
well done, Phil. Champ, you're up next. And if I was judging this match, you're behind on the scorecards, and it's getting in late into the rounds.
But I'm ahead in everybody's heart.
That's it, baby.
Absolutely.
And you got the shirt. You're on the 30. Go.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't think that WWE, for the most part, considers AEW as competition or serious competition. And I'll use a baseball analogy because I'm a huge baseball fan. Let's say that the WWE is the New York Yankees, and AEW is, let's say, the Toronto Blue Jays, and then NXT would be Scranton Wilkes-Barre, the Yankees AAA farm team. And the Yankees, the WWE is pretty much, the Railroaders. They're pretty much saying, okay, if we send 2 or 3 of our stars down to SWB, we can easily defeat the Blue Jays because, if we send down a Becky Lynch or a Dominic Mysterio or anyone like that or an Asuka. So now you have the minor league team with a little bit of an assist from the major league team, easily outscoring the other major league team. So I don't really think that WWE takes this very seriously. The AEW will never be in the same class as WWE, at least not in my lifetime. And I just think that now on the flip side, though, I agree with Phil. The winners are the fans. Back in the day, I started watching wrestling. At one point, I could watch 4 different territories. There was never enough wrestling, and to a true fan, there will never be enough wrestling.
Well done, Benny. Well done. All right. Coming up from the rear, the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, I'm putting your voice up to the microphone. You're on the 30. Do your thing. Go.
Coming up from the rear. Well, I am Greek. Okay.
Well, now you're getting points just for that.
Don't drop a
Thank
pencil
you.
near Jimmy.
Wrecked him, as I always say, damn near killed him. Okay. Who's winning this one on the ratings war? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. You got John Cena, you got Cody Rhodes, you got Paul Heyman. NXT is going to, not only are they going to win this particular night, I'm wondering if I will laugh if they surpass when Punk made his debut. Will they pull a 1.2 to 1.4 with a Cena, a Rhodes, and a Heyman on the show? Yeah, I think they will. So that would be kind of hilarious if they surpass even Punk's highest television rating numbers. The other thing that comes to mind here that I really wonder, I would love to ask Tony Khan, what is your goal? Because I think AEW has been around for 4 years now or so, if I'm not mistaken, and their goal, I thought, was just to overthrow the WWE. Instead, it turned out into a Wednesday night war against the secondary division of the WWE, NXT. It's their minor leagues. Everybody knows this. Okay, so your main program, which you claimed was supposed to take down the WWE's number 1 program, overtook the number 2 program, NXT. Congratulations. Seems like we're running in place. By moving head-to-head with NXT 4 years later, you're still competing with NXT. So, Tony Khan,
nice, Jimmy. Well done.
Very good.
One thing I forgot to say is that was the final round going into the championship. And we got something. Well, first, we want to say goodbye to Bruce as we send him to the land of the misfit toys. You did a good job, Bruce. We'll see you next week. Get ready and train for that championship. Send him to the land of the misfit toys. Barus. All right, here we go. This is the championship round, and now it's a 3-way. You're going to have each a minute 30. and you'll be named the champion. Right now, Jimmy and the champ are down by 6. Here's the final round question. It'll open up with Phil.
Oh,
the WWE should avoid bringing back CM Punk after AEW exit. The WWE has interesting dilemma when it comes to Phil Brooks. Should they bring him back? Will this cause controversy within the WWE locker room, or is it a great political move? Phil, you're on the 30. Go.
Well, I'd hate to quote an Eric Bischoff book that controversy creates cash, but I could foresee this happening too. Tension can be a good thing, even in locker rooms, and it can cause, I think, the performers and the athletes to rise to the occasion and up their game. And, back like in Memphis, it's been said that the thing that draws the best, that draws the most fans in, is personal issues. And, these lines still are blurred between what's a shoot and what's a work, We get these descriptions of things that happen backstage that not everyone sees all the time, and we don't know how nuanced it actually is. And Punk is a controversial character, and he's a great performer. I don't agree with some of his signs and some of his T-shirts and some of that. He kind of brings the politics in a little bit, and sometimes he does himself in. But ultimately, he's a lightning rod, okay? And he's an electrical. He's a bolt, isn't that his symbol? That lightning bolt. That's just what he is. So I think he'll eventually get there. I guess the question is when. When can they fit him in? And it's a publicly traded company, so they're obviously going to have to temper him a little bit. But I think they'd welcome the pipe bombs, and it'd be great to see him and Seth Rollins go at it, wouldn't it?
Well done. Without a doubt, Phil. I'm not a Punk guy, as you know, but you know what? Dragging him into that story with Seth Rollins, nothing but gold.
Yeah.
On the clock, our own Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, you're on the 30. Go.
Oh, you gotta bring Punk in if you have that chance. There's one thing that I've learned over these years doing this wonderful show with Mike is just that business is business, and this would be just tremendous business. CM Punk can still go, and as long as they can figure it out in the back, it's not the boys in the locker room. I don't think the boys in the locker room will have a problem with CM Punk. He's got to talk to Vince, he's got to talk to Triple H, you got to be all on the same page and realize this is what's best for business. And I don't know if anybody's brought this up because I can't hear the other guys, but I would love it if The Rock and Roman Reigns does happen. Wouldn't that be something if The Rock and Reigns, they're in the match, the whole bloodline is turned on him. He's got nothing going for him. It looks like Roman's going to lose the belt. And all of a sudden, who helps Roman? Because of The Rock history, CM Punk. You could have a program with Punk and The Rock. You could have a program with Punk and Rollins. You can have a program with Punk and Reigns. You can have a program with Punk and almost anybody. He can still go. He's worth a fortune. Him and his big mouth. He is definitely a magnet. It just makes business sense. It would be sexy, and that's what the WWE specializes in. And CM Punk is still sexy. Go to sleep, baby. Go to sleep. That's all I got there, Mike. You can keep clicking if you want.
Oh, man. You and Phil are tied right now. All right, champ. Your belt's on the line. Can you do it? Can CM Punk bring this game home? You're on the 30. Go.
I was all ready to do my Mr. Ed imitation after Jimmy finished and say that if Mr. Ed heard that, he would have said, that's a lot of bullshit, Wilbur. But actually, there was a lot of wisdom with both Jimmy and Phil. Bottom line, it's a business. What's the goal of a business? To make money. Is CM Punk going to add to the bottom line of the WWE? I don't think anybody could argue that he would not add revenue to the bottom line of WWE. The question would be more, where does he fit in at this point? Of course, he's going to want to be an on-top guy. There's too many on-top guys already, so is he willing to maybe not even pass the torch at this point, but is he willing to work as, one of the main event guys, but maybe not the main event guy? But I mean, just, the feuds with him and Cody, or him and Rollins. Geez, I would love to see a CM Punk Seth Rollins match. Just everything that he could add. And honestly, I think the guy has a bad rep. I think what he did with Jack Perry, I absolutely agree with what he did. It would have been the same thing that The Undertaker would have done back in the day if Scotty 2 Hotty went on a pay-per-view and went into business for himself. He would have taken care of the problem. Now, in WWE, there'd be no need to, because there's, Vince McMahon, rules with an iron fist. Again, corporation versus frat house. But I think Punk would be great.
Well done, Benny. But unfortunately, you're to the land of the misfit toys. Ooh. That belt was short-lived, but we'll see you next week.
It was great wearing it, though.
We love you, Benny. Doing great shows on the network. We're so glad you joined the family. Benny. All right, guys. Jimmy, Phil, it's a tie. Either you guys could be co-champions, or you're going to answer this one question, and we're going to go with the one question. And like I said, Monty is the judge, the juror, and the executioner.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready? Here's the question. And Pharaoh, you're going to answer it first. Who's got a better ass?
What?
Sky Blue.
Sky Blue or Tony Storm, Pharaoh?
This is the final question?
This is for the championship.
You're not giving me a minute and a half. I'm not talking about two girls' butts for a minute and a half. What on
Not a minute. Just tell me. It's a quick answer.
Sky Blue or Tony Storm?
Yes.
Tony Storm. Leave me alone.
Phil, what's your answer?
Well, even before you gave the choice, I knew who I would have guessed. And Sky Blue passes the quarter test. And by that, I mean the geometry of the shape is such that if you did the quarter, it would just bounce forever. And it's been the source of controversy, I know, lately, too.
I thought there was something wrong with my TV last night, but clearly I wasn't. With that, Jimmy, you made a great run, but I got to send you to the land of the misfit toys, as Sky Blue's ass was incredible, and Phil, you are the new champion. We'll see you next week when you defend the title. See you at 9 o'clock, everybody. God bless.
Well, bottoms up.
Thanks.